Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Nadeshot is potentially putting a challenge out to King Scumpy with the watch parties going into next season. Scump's watch party has been mega ever since he retired on the OpTic gaming side, but especially given the fact that Nadeshot is incredibly excited to get this new Los Angeles Thieves team underway. He is looking to start a watch party potentially of his own, either joining at the OpTic watch party with Scump and Envoy is part of his plan, but also could he start his own watch party with 100 Thieves to potentially compete and try and take some viewers away from Scump, especially during the 100 Thieves games. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, Crim went first this weekend. Won one of the two races that they do on the Saturday, Sunday, and then in the afternoon, of course, did the Endurance Championship race at Sonoma Raceway, and he won that as well. Crim is honestly doing a great job. I know that people know this, but just the actual context of the achievements that Crim is having at the moment, because in these Endurance Championship races that he's doing, he's like on par with, if not faster than, some of the pro drivers that are also there to help kind of, you know, teach some of the guys that also race in these series and stuff like that. So Crim's been killing it. His final race of the year is at the Circuit of the Americas in November in Austin, Texas, which is a 6-hour race. So Crim's goal now, as he says, huge shout out to the Rafa Racing Club for giving me a chance to accomplish my dream. Can't believe how much has happened in the last year. Never thought I'd be in the position I'm in now. So look, Crim's goal is to get to something like, you know, the WEC or IMSA and do endurance racing as his next step. Whether he can get classified like as, you know, a certain level of driver and therefore he can be able to do that, I'm not exactly sure what the next steps are going to be or what opportunities he might get from this. But yeah, he's obviously dominated this year's Porsche Sprint Challenge NA. I think you can actually see in his bio now, he's got, 38 times COD champion, 3 COD World Championships, 2024 Porsche Sprint Challenge NA champion for Rafa Racing. So, you know, he's living the dream right now. And yeah, congrats to Crim because his season is basically over now. Couple of bits of drama. Warzone. How about this? Hector, as in Repulse, was talking about which CDL players are coming over to Warzone. Now, we talked about this a while ago, whether some players are interested. Clay has certainly hinted at it. If he doesn't get a spot in the CDL, that may be moving to competitive Warzone could be an option for him. And, you know, I think he'd kill it over there if he was to do exactly that. But he does mention a few guys. I think he said Teddy Rex and Rambi Bambi, kind of, you know, search and destroy stars basically from the COD scene, are moving over to Warzone competitive. But he mentioned 2 former or current professional players, Major Maniac and John. Now, this is like definitely true for John. Of course, 2016 world champion. What game was he world champion on? Oh yeah, Black Ops 3. Let's go, baby. We're back again. Of course, envy John as he was. He actually came back to the CDL briefly, you guys might remember, on the Los Angeles Thieves when they had that disastrous Cold War season, and at the end of the year they brought John back. It didn't go especially well, I'll be honest, but it was cool to see John back in the league. Of course, there was all the drama about John because he was potentially shadow banned from the CDL for a couple of years for various reasons that there are various rumours about, but we're not necessarily going to get into that today. So he's back, potentially, and he was able to be back in 2021, 2022, stuff like that, when he came back to compete briefly. Then he was out of the league again, and he's now thinking about competing in Warzone. So, you know, COD World Champion going to Warzone, it's a pretty exciting prospect, although maybe he's not the player that he used to be. Major Maniac, though, that's an interesting one, because as he says, I never said I was switching. I've just been grinding Warzone on stream this off-season. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure where that came from, the idea that Major Maniac was going over to Warzone. I guess he's going to be committed to grinding challenges. Is it the worst idea, to be honest, for a guy in Major's position? Because, you know, he got the opportunity to come back this year on Boston. Is he going to get another opportunity in the league? Maybe not. Is there more money to be made playing competitive Warzone than grinding out challenges? Probably yes, but to be fair, the Challengers prize pools last year were pretty nice, so that might make sense as well. And of course, you've still got the option to try and get back into the league and accomplish your goal of becoming the world champion one day. So there is that as well. But yeah, Major Maniac basically says, yeah, I ain't going to Warzone, what are you guys talking about? And Simp says, Warzone propaganda, no way, these guys are, you know, making stuff up. So we'll see if any other pro players follow them as well. But I definitely felt like, you know, when XDefiant was coming out, there was quite some optimism that XDefiant might actually be a good game, and, well, you know, we could talk about that more another time, maybe. But there was some talk about the XDefiant Pro League, right, and whether some, not exactly washed-up players, but you know what I mean, like players towards the end of their careers might decide, all right, if XDefiant are going to have a Pro League, if there's going to be organizations investing in XDefiant, people are going to care about that game, then maybe some former COD players or, you know, players in the end of their careers might go over there instead. Kind of similar to what happened when Valorant first came out, when it was pretty much just all ex-CS pros that went to Valorant and dominated for the first few months, and then, you know, the actual Valorant kids came along, and now it's pretty much a different story. It's not easy to transition across the two games as it used to be. So, you know, and now maybe that's happening in the same regard in COD, but instead of some of these guys going to XDefiant, if that was ever going to be a thing, they're just going to go to Warzone competitive instead. But apparently not Major Maniac is our current understanding. But let's talk about Nadeshot and what's going on with the Los Angeles Thieves. Couple of clips I wanted to share for you guys. He was talking about who's going to be the IGL, because it is a question for the team, absolutely. How's the communication going to be on the roster? We know that Ghosty has got a lot of praise on the OpTic days, absolutely, from his teammates last season for his communication in game. You know, human UAV. Formal was in, you know, Ghosty was compared to Formal in his first year as a player on OpTic. Like, that is pretty high praise, and I imagine that he can continue that up nicely this season on the Los Angeles Thieves. And Nadeshot's pretty confident Ghosty can be the IGL. Envoy also has lots of, you know, his career is very long at this point. Envoy's been around for a very long time. Debuted really the 2019 season, way back in Black Ops 4. But Envoy even played a tournament with Kenny on Team Justice way back in Advanced Warfare before the age restriction came in with the CWL. So Envoy's been around a long time. He can definitely help there. But I do think that, you know, the likes of Scrappy, the likes of HyDra, maybe haven't had teammates with communication as good as Ghosty's for the last couple of years. So that might even be an additional benefit to the roster. And he also made it quite clear, Nadeshot, that they are not going to lock down Scrappy in any way at all. He can play how he likes in the game. He can talk how he likes outside of the game. And, you know, this is why it's great to have a former player like Nade who really knows the scene from an in and out perspective, right? Absolutely back from the grassroots days. Like, Nade knows what COD Esports is all about, what it takes to be successful in this esports, what the esport needs if we want to try and get to the next level. And absolutely, Nadeshot is not going to do anything like what some other organizations might have considered doing over the last few years, which is trying to, you know, censor their players to some degree. I mean, you guys probably remember when the league first came around in 2019, 2020, when they had to do media training, and even obviously Cammy got that sensitivity training drama, right? Because the teams were trying to be more serious now. We're a proper sports, like, you know, $25 million, whatever. So, you know, that ain't the case. It was never the case. And I think what Nadeshot is saying is absolutely right on the money as far as I'm concerned. But the other thing that Nadeshot was talking about was, especially given his excitement with the Los Angeles Thieves roster, running a watch party. Because there are a few watch parties that go around the league, mainly Zoomer's one and Scump's one, obviously. Those are the two big ones. Of course, at the events, we've been able to do our watch parties at the majors sometimes, at Breaking Point, which has been absolutely fantastic. The World Championship, Toronto's major, Boston's major, obviously also the World Cup that we did, kind of in collaboration with the Flank. It was just such a great season. But Nadeshot, understandably, is thinking, well, OpTic have the Scump one, FaZe have the Zoomer one, 100 Thieves, what do we have? Do we have a watch party? Should we get one going? What do we want to do? Now, Nadeshot, of course, is boys with Scump and with Embos especially, and now more and more so with Zinni, according to what he says in this clip that I'm about to share for you guys. But he's like, well, you know, I could do that, and that would be great. Great fun. Go and join the OpTic watch party, because now he's based out there in Texas, and I'm sure everyone would love to see it. But also, is that best for 100 Thieves as an organization? He's got to balance his own personal interests with what is best for the org. So he's definitely considering doing his own watch party with 100T.
Do you think Ghosty will fill the IGL role this season? Surrounded by so many Slayers would be great. Without being in the room with them, I'm pretty sure that Dan is one of the most vocal players in the league. Like, the things that I've heard, I think that's a safe bet. I think Dan will probably be IGLing. I can't imagine Paco doing it. I mean, Envoy is like a veteran player. He's been around for a long time. I mean, I think it's going to be a combination of like everybody contributing to comms. Like, I don't think that this game is like Valorant or Counter-Strike, where you have one person at all times calling the shots. I think it's like a collective work. But yeah, I think Dan is ready to step up and lead the troops like when he needs to. Will 100T put a leash on Scrap? Fuck no. No. Absolutely not. Bro, the crazier and more fucked up that guy is, the better. That's how I see it. We need personality in esports, man. I'm praying for personalities. I want personalities. Like, so I'm gonna give that motherfucker the green. He don't need a green light or a red light. He just needs to be himself, whatever he wants. Honestly, Scrap pulls up on stage, black tar heroin in his system, turn me up. I'll fucking take the needle with him. Now that's insane. Too early for that.
Yeah, bro, I really want to do the watch party. Whether it's with Seth or I start my own. If I start my own, I just need to know who to do it with. But it sucks because like Seth and Mark and even like Zinni are starting to become like some of my closest friends. You know what I mean? Me and Seth and Mark go way back, of course, like best friends, living by each other now. But Zin, him and I have been bonding a lot too. So like if I were going to do a COD watch party, it would be with those guys. But they just got their whole operation. It's one of the few times that I hate not being a part of the same team because it just makes things more complicated. You know, I got to do what's best for 100 Thieves and myself. They got to do what's best for OpTic and what they've been building for a long time.
So what would the watch party be? If Nadeshot said, all right, he's going to run one, who would he bring on? I think it would be interesting to see if, like, you know, let's say Octane were to join and he were to kind of no longer watch with the flank guys and he were to watch with Nadeshot instead, and then maybe Enable. And then, you know, I think even Mudog would maybe be a great add to that. He's a very entertaining guy. So, I don't know, there's obviously a potential cast of quartet or whatever you want to say there that maybe Nadeshot could do something similar with to what Scump's doing. Now, let's be honest, is Nadeshot going to stream and watch party every single CDL match like Scump does? I say that's quite unlikely. I think that it's especially like we're in stage 3 of the season. It's Boston Breach versus Vegas Falcons game 1 of the day. Like, is Nadeshot really tuning in for that? Maybe he is, fair enough. But, you know, my feeling is that maybe 100T could do this as, you know, on the days that Los Angeles Thieves are playing or something, maybe they run the watch party that day. I don't know if it would necessarily have to be an everyday thing. I don't expect it to necessarily be an everyday all the time thing. It may be, that may be what Nadeshot decides to do, but that's just kind of my feeling on the situation. So then, if you're not doing it all the time, then does it make more sense just to go on the Scump watch party when Thieves are playing? It maybe. But I think there's definitely room for it to have Nadeshot stream as well. Okay, is 100 Thieves watch party going to get the same numbers as Scump? No, because it's Scump. But look, still, Nadeshot's, as everyone knows, an incredibly entertaining personality, and he would absolutely kill it on a watch party setting. There's no doubt in my mind about that. What cast and crew that he'd get on board, that I guess is another question. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below where this will end. Will Nade and Scump join forces, or will they, you know, do battle, I suppose, once again on their separate organizations? Just one final thing to close out the video with: HyDra versus Drazah career stats. Pretty interesting how you look at a couple of players that have actually been around a similar length of time, to be fair. Drazah first came around really during the Modern Warfare 19 season. HyDra was 1 year later. But players that you don't often compare, but the reality is their numbers are pretty damn similar. 5-time champion for both players, 1 world champion each, 22, 23 respectively, 8 finals appearances for HyDra, 9 finals appearances for Drazah, and HyDra got the season MVP, which Drazah's never won. Average placement 4.7, 5.6. Champ's average placement, though, not so good for Drazah. Certainly not helped by the most recent result that he had on the Atlanta FaZe. Drazah, though, 13-9 all-time against HyDra head-to-head. So pretty competitive between the two of these guys. In terms of who is in the fight to become the stronger player ever, in terms of, let's say you look back at their careers in 10 years' time, who's going to have the better career? It's going to be HyDra. But for now, these guys are pretty damn neck and neck. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.